Hey Homestead peeps! So today we've got a lot going on in the kitchen. We're going to be canning some of our purple hull peas that we've picked, and we're going to be doing the final stage of our testing for our 2 sourdough starters that we have been making, and we're making biscuits with them today. So stay tuned and we'll see which one works out the best. I believe it's day 3. I'm losing count. I'll put it on the video what day it is. But our Starboard Farms starter is to sit for another 24 hours. We don't do anything with it. And our simple starter was supposed to be taken out for 2 hours today to get to room temperature, and then we need to feed it and put it back in. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I'll show you, I'll let you see what it looks like inside the jar right now. There's a lot of separation going on. There's bubbles as well, but I don't know. I don't know if this is what it's supposed to look like. Those of you that have experience with sourdough starters, anything you could suggest in the comments, I would love to hear it. And so let's get started with the feeding the... There's a look at the inside of the jar. If you see that liquid part separating from it, that's what it looks like today. And we still have some increase from where the rubber band started. So we're gonna feed it now. Take a third a cup of lukewarm water and a third cup of unbleached self-rising flour. I'm just trying to find a smaller cup to put this third of a cup in. So, okay, that's right at a third of a cup, and I'm going to go ahead and mix it in the water here before I add it to the starter. Just so it mixes a little better. In there. And I'm going to use that wooden spoon again too. Stir the Sorry, let me move this out of the way. So you can see what we're doing, but I'm just taking that feeding mixture and then adding it to that. There we are. We'll be back in another 24 hours to get. So the first thing that we're doing is we're rinsing the purple hulls And if you notice, they get this husk on them, and we have to get all of that off. So that's our first step in canning the peas, is just rinsing and rinsing. Okay, so I'm good with the 1-inch headspace, and then I'm going to just lightly go around and make sure there are no air pockets. I've put this hot boiling water into these peas, and these jars have been heated. Also, because I only have 4 jars and my pressure canner can handle much more than that, I'm going to put these extra jars that I've heated, put water back in them, so to give my canner a little bit more even pressure across, so we don't just have like 4 and then that's it in there. It just kind of helps make everything a little more evenly spaced in the canner. The next thing I'm going to do is take my heated lids. These are brand new lids, and I do suggest that you use brand new lids. And I'm going to just, oh, I did forget one thing. Let me, make sure to wipe the rim so there's nothing on there that's going to prevent a good seal. So there we go. So we've got this placed on there nice and even, and hand tighten. And there we go. We're going to put these in the canner. See that we have the 4 jars in there, but we have 6 jars total because we put this one and this one, just filled it with water to make it evenly spaced all the way around the canner. So we're going to put the lid on and get started with the Presto canner. There's 2 V marks that need to be lined up when putting your lid on, and once you've line those up, then you will twist and close. Okay, so I'm starting to get a vent of steam coming from the canner, and I will let that steam for 10 minutes before I put the weights on. Got a good pipe of steam coming out of there, and we're actually, because we are in Florida and just barely above sea level, we're only putting 10 pounds of weight on our pressure canner. Now, if you live more than 1,000 feet above sea level, it's suggested that you check where you live, how far, what your altitude is, and how much weight you should put for your area. Now we're going to wait till this starts to gently rock, and then we're going to turn the heat down a little bit, and we're going to be letting this cook for about, I believe I said 40 minutes, but I'm going to double check that to make sure. So we're going to be baking biscuits, sourdough biscuits, with our 2 starters today. They've actually almost even as far as the volume of the starter. This one is a lot thicker, the simple starter is, than the starboard starter. I'm not even positive that this starboard starter is going to be usable. One of the things that they suggested to test to see if your starter is ready is putting a drop of it in water, and if it floats, it's ready. If it doesn't, it's not. I put it in a drop of water. I put a drop of starter in the water and it did not float. But because it's supposed to be ready by this time and we're testing the two to see which is better, I'm going to go through with the baking the biscuits and using the starter just to see what happens, but I'm not real certain about the results I'm going to get from the starboard starter. So let's get to baking. So the ingredients for the sourdough biscuits is we're going to use 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 4 tablespoons of butter, 1.5 cups of sourdough starter, and about a 1/2 cup of buttermilk, but 1/2 cup to 2/3 cup of buttermilk, and that's going to be divided. So let's get started. Start with the simple starter first. So it says to combine the flour, salt, baking soda, and baking powder in a large bowl. So we have the flour already pre-mixed, the baking powder, and a 1/4 cup of the a 1/4 teaspoon, I'm sorry, not a 1/4 cup, a 1/4 teaspoon of the baking soda. And the salt, not forget the salt. And we needed a 1/2 teaspoon to 3/4 teaspoon of salt. And we're using pink Himalayan salt. And we're going to combine those dry ingredients. And then it says to cut the butter into the flour, and until it resembles coarse crumbs. And we're going to put the starter and the buttermilk in a separate bowl, and then we're going to put the two together. So I don't have a biscuit cutter. And so what I'm actually using is the top to one of my spray cans for like a pan. So what I'm going to be doing is using that to cut out my biscuits with. I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now normally what I would do if I were making biscuits, I would take this dough and do it all over again, but for the purposes of the experiment, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to bake it after it's been re-kneaded and refloured, just because I don't want that to affect the outcome of it, and I want to know which ones were just done that way. But it's perfectly fine to recut it more than once. So we're putting this in the oven at 400. So we're gonna let this rest for 30 minutes and then we'll put them in the oven for 15 minutes. So we have mixed the same ingredients with the second starter, and we are now putting it out on our countertop with the flour and kneading it. I must say, even though the visual of the two starters, this one I was afraid is like it's not gonna be good. It's not as bubbly as the simple starter, but it makes a whole lot more pliable dough than the first one. So we're gonna cut 8 biscuits out again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's with the Starboard Farms starter. Now, I'm going to actually save this because I just can't bear to throw it away. Like I said, you can make more dough, more biscuits out of your dough. Just re-knead it some, but I'm gonna set this in my bag to save for later. But I do want to show you how easy cleanup is when you use these, use this cling wrap on your counter. So it's there, voila, counter's clean. So there's your tip. So we're gonna let this rest for 30 minutes as well and put it in the oven at 400 for 15 minutes. So we'll be back to show you the results. Notice our little weight here has stopped jiggling, and this popper thing right here has gone down, which means there's no more pressure on this canner. Now I'm going to take this off just to make sure nothing else comes out, and it doesn't. So we're going to take the top off of this and we're going to set our jars out. Open this, I'm going to open it away from my face. I don't think there's any pressure, but there still may be a lot of steam than there is that comes off of that, so I just don't want to burn myself. So we're gonna take, oops, we're gonna take the jars out and put them, they're still very hot. I can actually see the water in them boiling still. But that's our 4 jars of purple hull peas. So like I said, guys, and I think I may not have gotten this on tape earlier, but there are homesteaders out there that are putting away 50 weeks, 52 weeks worth of canned foods. And that's wonderful. And that's my goal. But this is our first year back homesteading, and we haven't gotten there yet. But there's no shame in that. So don't feel like if you don't have this massive crop that you shouldn't be putting away. This is 4 jars. It's 4 meals for something, you know, and it's a start, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of the fact that we are starting back our homestead, and we're excited about what's going to come in the future. So if you've got just a little bit to can what you have, and don't fret over the fact that you aren't meeting the same volume that a lot of these other homesteaders. Okay, so we have baked both sets of biscuits. These are the biscuits from the Starboard Farms starter, and these are the biscuits from the Simple starter. The one thing that I notice is these are a lot smoother.
These are flaky.
These are flakier. So we're gonna taste them and see which one tastes the best. All right, so which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with the flaky one.
I'm gonna try it without butter because I just want to know how it tastes.
I'm country at heart. I'm gonna use butter.
They're really flaky.
Looks
They're
good.
light.
Not good. They're very light.
And it has a good flavor to it too.
I like these.
It has a good taste to it. You?
Yep. All right, let's go to the next one.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Let's go to the next one.
Okay. What am I gonna do with my biscuit? I didn't finish it. Okay.
You leave it there, it's gonna be easy.
Okay, so now we're gonna try the Starboard Farms biscuit. And these remind me of my grandma's dinner rolls. That's what they remind me more of, dinner rolls, than they do biscuits.
Don't say anything until I eat them. All right.
Really soft, though.
You know what the difference I feel is? You know when you get biscuits that are buttermilk biscuits, and then you get those kind that are flaky? That's the difference. This tastes like a buttermilk biscuit.
But they're both buttermilk biscuits.
But they're good. I mean, this one's just not a flaky one, but it's really soft
yeah, I don't
and
really
it's good.
think I can't really tell a difference in taste.
I can't either.
It's just
Texture.
And they're both light and fluffy. This one's just flakier than this one is.
Well, I would tell you, I won't pass up either one of them. They're good.